We're going to give it a minute for people to get in the chat. As always, if you're watching, please let me know you're watching. Definitely leave any questions, comments, anything like that. I'll be more glad to answer them. And we'll go from there. Trying out the headphones again. Hopefully, this time they work. If anybody is there, please let me know. And we'll get ready to go in just a second here. I'm just going to do one quick thing here. All right. Whew. All right, so just give this a second here. Got some stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Got some updates here for the channel. We're going to be talking about some gaming news. I'm actually going to talk a little bit of wrestling as far as Wrestlemania 42, which is in a couple weeks. So I figured, you know what, I can go on ahead and talk about that a little bit because I always have fun predicting what's going to happen at the greatest show for WWE, quote unquote, greatest show. But we got a few things to get into tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this right now because it's probably one of the bigger things I'll probably have to announce in a while. Um, so the past couple weeks, we've had a few things happen behind the scenes here that uh, has caused us to make some changes to our channel. And originally, we had this whole plan of the HHG Challenge Series, which was the Dice Throne tournament we were doing, to crown our first ever House Hedge Gaming Tabletop Champion. However, few things have come up to the point where three of those participants are not going to be able to finish out the tournament. So we're having to cut the tournament short. There is one more set of videos you'll see, which is from the second round. We're getting those finished up and everything. But then that's it. We'll have a champion crowned at the end of those two rounds. And we'll go through and let you know who that is when the time is right. But as of right now, going forward, you're mainly going to be seeing me on the channel. Cyndi will be helping out. She'll be doing some stuff with us for solo playthroughs, 1v1 playthroughs, and all. And also, Hannie will be joining us. As far as Crystal, Chloe, and Owen, they've had a lot of things come up, various different things, and they're going to get their stuff taken care of. And when they do, then they'll be back later on. But just right now, they're having to get a few things taken care of that they're working on as a combination of everything. I'm not going to go into full details on it. There's no reason to. But hopefully at some point they'll be back on the channel. But for right now, it's just going to be myself, Cyndi, and the occasional Hannie. If we can do more later, we will. And I'd be more than glad to do it. So what this means for the channel. So, like I said, the HHG Challenge Series has been cut short. Can't be avoided, unfortunately. But we'll have a Tabletop Champion crown, and we'll be able to do some title defenses, still have some fun with that title here on the channel. We'll be doing some playthrough videos still, mainly solo and 1v1s. Like I said, we still got some reviews to do. I got a few reviews for games that I had to change up how I'm going to do it because I don't have the group that I was going to do it with. So, still have the Elegant TCG we're doing, which unfortunately the Kickstarter for that did not go as they wanted it to. But what I'm going to do is that's going to be this week's video as the Elegant TCG to show you how to play that game. It's a simple game. It's fun. It's easy to learn. There's one aspect of the game that was a little bit confusing, but I'll go into that in the video. And hopefully, if they relaunch the game, relaunch the Kickstarter, it can have a better shot. Because there's a few things in the game that is really great, and there's a few things in the game that could be worked out a little bit more, fleshed out a little bit. So we're going to do a review on that. We got Gates of Crystalia that we're still doing, but unfortunately the group playthrough having to be put on hold. I will go into a little bit of that tonight through here because there's some really cool stuff about it. I want to highlight the card system that they have for that game. So we'll be doing that tonight as well. We also got in Excalibur from Roxley Games. We just got that in. We'll be doing an unboxing video for that soon. The game looks amazing as far as the components for it, the artwork, the playability, all that stuff. It is a great game to stab your friends in the back. It's really a fun game from what we got a chance to see at Gen Con last year. Now we have a copy of it here, so we're going to be able to do that. So that's the current plan. We're just getting a lot of stuff reorganized here. Behind me, there's some stuff that's getting redone. I'm working on the shelves, working on getting some other stuff done. And uh, sometimes you have to just go and reevaluate things and have to change things around. But hopefully, like I said, Crystal, Owen, and Chloe, they'll be able to get back here at some point down the line. Just like I said, right now, they got some stuff going on. So I hope they get everything taken care of, and we'll get them back at the gaming table at some point down the line. All right. So that is the updates I wanted to give you for behind the scenes. That was a big thing for us to do because we had a lot of stuff going on that was going to feature them, but we had to change it around. As far as Gen Con goes, still haven't heard anything yet from True Dungeon. And it's also going to be determined if my job will let me get off work, which is a first. Because being in a casino and being in the entertainment industry now, it's a little bit different to get time off because they have to have the needs of the company and all. It's like most companies anyway. But this one's a lot different because there's so many people trying to vie for time off, especially during the summer. And so there's different variables to when I'm going to know, if I'm going to know, if I'll be able to go to Gen Con or not. I would love to go, and if I do, I'll have my Merry and Pippin deck. I got plenty of cards that still need to be signed. I'd be happy to fill that sucker out this year if I can. But hopefully Gen Con, I'll be able to get to go and meet more people and just have some fun this year. And hopefully with True Dungeon. If not, I'll get a badge, drive back and forth. Happy to do it. Or I might be able to find somebody else to work with. I don't know. All right, so let's get into some gaming news. A lot has come up over the last little bit. You're probably going to see me side view because I really did a weird orientation on this. So let's go on ahead and bring it up here. All right, so first things first. We have Secrets of Strixhaven that is coming out in just a few short weeks from Wizards of the Coast. It's the latest set from Magic the Gathering, and this set looks like it's going to be amazing. Which is really glad to see because the in-universe sets as of the past few have been really great. And then we had Spider-Man, but we also had Avatar, we had Final Fantasy, which was great. Turtles was a pleasant surprise. A lot of people were thinking that TMNT was going to end up being a very, not the best set to come out. But thankfully, it turned out to be better than what most people thought, even though they don't like the pizza lands or they don't like the setting of New York. It still was a good set. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that the mechanics that they have, they might have to wait a while to get in the future sets to build onto those themes, but Turtles was actually not a bad choice. But Secrets of Strixhaven, we're going back to Strixhaven. It's the last time we're going to be in Magic the Gathering's universe before we get to the big main event of this huge storyline they've had recently in Reality Fracture. So, one big thing that Secrets of Strixhaven has done is that they have found a way to reprint cards from the reserve list to a degree. Let's take a look here at Emeritus of Ideation. This Flying War 2 for 5/5 for 2 blue and 3. This creature enters prepared. When this creature attacks, you may exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, this creature becomes prepared. And the spell you can cast from it is Ancestral Recall. 1 blue, instant, target player draws 3 cards. This was part of the Power 9. This is part of the Power 9. Okay, we good? All right. Got to love modern technology. These things have been charged up for the past few days, and I used them to play a little bit of Phasmo, and then all of a sudden, gone. But we're back. All right. So let's get back to this. So, Emeritus of Ideation. It has Ancestral Recall on it, and when this card got previewed, everybody and their mother was basically just going over the moon with this card because here is a chance for players to play one of the more iconic cards in Magic the Gathering without spending a boatload of money. It is now in standard. It is in pretty much every format now, but it's attached to a creature. So what does this mean? So the way that works is that for 2 blue and 3, you're getting a 5/5 Flying Ward 2. Great stats right off the bat. But it comes to play prepared. Now think of it this way. In the world of Dungeons and Dragons, wizards have to prepare their spells each day. This, being of course a wizard, this spell is prepared. This is one that they know. This is one they've studied. This one they can do at any moment as long as they have it prepared. So coming into play prepared, you are able to use this spell for the 1 blue, cast it the time it's supposed to be cast. So at instant speed, cast it at any time. Your turn, your opponent's turn, whatever. And then you have a chance to prepare again by meeting certain requirements. This is a great way for them to technically reprint cards that were on the reserve list, which is a reserve list, for those of you who are unaware of that, for Magic the Gathering. There's a list of cards they would not be able to print out, period. And that is to help collectors. Excuse me. So, when they previewed this card and people saw Ancestral Recall, everybody was like, oh goodness, this is going to be great. And I think this is a great way for them to actually reprint some cards that people wanted to play in various formats, but they weren't able to play because, one, they were on the reserve list, so they're really expensive to get a hold of, or two, they didn't want to play with proxies. Now you can have that mix and be able to get around the reserve list a little bit, and I think this was one of the better ideas that Wizards of the Coast has done. So we have prepared as a new mechanic. So like I said, when this creature's in play, if it enters play prepared, you're able to use that spell. The only way that that spell is based like in exile to where it can be cast until one of 3 things happens. Either 1, you use the spell, you cast it. 2, the creature leaves play, then the spell's gone. 3, if the creature becomes unprepared or the permanent becomes unprepared. And there's different ways in the set to where you can unprepare and prepare a creature, which is really cool to be able to like basically knock them on the head, make them unprepared, or jog their memory, have them prepared. It's good times. All right, so now other things with it, repartee, which is another good one here. So when you cast the instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature, exile up to 1 target creature, return that card in the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So with repartee, basically it's blink. It's another form of blink, and I think that's really cool, especially since it's part of Silver Quill. They're able to do a lot of into the battlefield tricks with it and everything. And I think any of those cards with repartee is definitely going to be pretty cool. For Prismari, they have Opus. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast a spell, create a token that's a copy of this creature. So Opus, a lot of this set's going to be focusing on instant sorcery spells, which I think makes sense for a school. Opus being able to basically be a form of prowess, but at the same time give you a little more bang for your buck if you're playing bigger spells. So it's going to be really interesting to see, like especially on something like Color Storm Stallion, 3/3 for a blue, red, and 1, Ward 1, haste, and of course the Opus ability, which, like I said, I think that's really cool for them to have. Next, Witherbloom has Infusion. They're all about gaining life. When you gain life, certain things happen. So with this one, it's a 4/4 for a green, a black, and 2 with Vigilance and Reach. When this creature enters, put 2 +1/+1 counters if you gain life this turn. There's a lot of pests. Those pests are going to die. Those pests are going to give you life. There you go. So I think Infusion, a great theme. Flashback is a return mechanic for lore hold. Flashback base if a card has flashback, you get to pay the flashback costs from the graveyard. That card then gets exiled. So it's great to see flashback make a comeback, and for lore hold being a college where they study history and they dig up history, it's a perfect fit. We have Increment for Quandrix. Increment is when you cast a spell, if the amount of the mana you spend is greater than the creature's power or toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So it's a bit like Evolve, which Evolve was a good mechanic. This being able to make focus on the spells, this can work really well. This can work really well with X spells, and it's a good payoff for any bigger spells you want to cast and give your creatures a boost. And finally, we have Paradigm. Paradigm is a fixed form of Epic. So Epic was a 5-card set in Saviors of Kamigawa where you cast a spell, and that's the only spell you cast the rest of the game. There was nothing else you can do. You drew cards, but that's it. You couldn't cast any more spells. But for this one, for Paradigm, exile this, then exile this spell. After you first resolve a spell with this name, you may cast a copy of it from exile without paying its mana cost at the beginning of each of your first main phases. I really love how they made this. I think this is a great way to fix the epic mechanic. It's not broken, but it's still a powerful mechanic because you're getting a free spell, and that free spell can have some major implications on the game. So I think they did a really good job. Like the set all around is really good. We got Converge that's coming back. Basically matters what kind of colors of mana you're paying for your spells. We got Books, of course, it's a school, and the set just looks really good. Uh, it's hard. It's really hard to think. Sorry, up above the mic. It's really hard to think that we're going from Strixhaven to Hobbit and Marvel before we get to Reality Fracture, because in the storyline, Liliana, who's now desparked, she's now just Liliana, a badass, meets her alternate self. So with Liliana right now, she was a Black Plains Walker, now a black creature who focuses on death. She meets the white version of herself, which is a life gain, healing, preservation of life. Ralzeric, originally we had as a blue-red planeswalker. Now we have as a black-white planeswalker. So it's very interesting to see if we're already seeing the reality shifts happen. This might be a way for them to bring the multiverse together and bring the universes beyond into Magic. I hope not, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so let's get some other news here. Next up, K-Pop Demon Hunter is going to Labyrinth. Now, Labyrinth has been a game that's been around for a long time. It's a maze game, and Ravensburger's got it, and they are doing the K-Pop Demon Hunters version of it. So, slowly but surely, K-Pop Demon Hunter is starting to make its way into the world of gaming, which I'm fine with. It's a popular IP, and it does have a lot of great ways to fit into the world of tabletop gaming. Ravensburger has placed Labyrinth K-Pop Demon Hunter, a new version of the popular maze game, on the pre-order. Earlier this year, Ravensburger announced that they had licensed K-Pop Demon Hunter for puzzles, paint-by-numbers products, and games. This new version of Labyrinth, a maze escape game that has hosted other IPs in the past, like Super Mario and Pokemon, will feature the sensational Demon Hunters trio of singers Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. This game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 7 and up, and will retail for $29.99. It is slated for release in Q3 2026, so may see this at Gen Con if it's going to be at the Ravensburger booth. Next up, we have Asmodee is going to be launching their first official crowdfunding campaign, and this is for Fantasy Zombicide Deadman Tales. It's going to be hitting the GameFound, which is interesting. A large company like Asmodee is doing this for the first time. It's very interesting to see how it's going to go. Asmodee and Asmodee NA will launch their first official crowdfunding campaign. Fantasy Zombicide Dead Men Tales will hit crowd GameFound on April 22nd, 2026. This is the first time Asmodee has created a crowdfunding campaign under their main brand. Asmodee-owned studios have participated in crowdfunding campaigns before, like people on see People on the Move. So that's their thing on ICV2 that I go to. But this is the first time Asmodee or Asmodee NA will be listed as a campaign creator. Asmodee acquired Zombicide in 2025 from CMON, and this will be the first new Zombicide game produced under their banner. A new game is a cooperative board game. The new game is a cooperative board game where players take charge of a crew of pirates survivors that are tasked battling the undead on a cursed archipelago. I got that word. Uh, Thanks, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, when I was growing up. And of course, a cast of new characters. The game supports 1 to 6 players, age 11 and up, and plays about 90 minutes. So it's going to be really cool to see if they might have something like this at the Asmodee booth at Gen Con this year. So I really hope they do, because it'd be really cool to see that. And also, as always, before I get into anything else, if you're watching the stream right now, first off, welcome. And second, if you have any questions, by all means, please let me know. Just jump in the chat, and I'll be more glad to answer anything that you have come up, whether it be gaming, wrestling related, whatever. I'm more glad to talk, because I love rambling on. All right. So, next up, so that's a bit of the gaming news. We got a couple things there. Next up, I want to actually talk about Gates of Crystallia. All right, so Gates of Crystallia, we got this a little while ago, and I've been reading over it, and it is a really well done RPG, where the coolest thing about it is that you are using a deck of cards to be able to advance your characters and all, and to do all sorts of checks and combat and everything. But I want to point out here, because there's a lot here, which I want to thank them again for sending me this stuff here. All right, so let's go. Let me actually make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. There we go. Ha. All right. All right, so I want to point out the character sheets real quick. So the character sheets are really easy. So you have your character's name, you have the race, you have the class that the character is, and there's a lot of different races and classes that you can mix and match, because you'll get bonuses from the race you choose, bonuses from the classes that you choose. And then you have your different checks, your intelligence, your charisma, your toughness, and your agility. But you'll note in the background here, like your intelligence is connected with the spades, charisma is with heart, your toughness is with clubs, and diamonds is your agility. So whenever you have to make a check in this game, you have the Fit 2 card deck in front of you. Now the Fit 2 card deck is not just the way you do your checks, but it also is your life total, which I think is a really cool, inventive way to do it, because usually in RPGs, if you start out with like level 1, level 2, you're going to be starting out with very bare minimum HP. This, you are able to manipulate the deck and know how much HP you have. Now, you won't know the cards that you played or the cards you use for checks, because they'll always be face down. So you won't be able to count how many, like do any card counting or anything. But with this, if you're able to do checks, like say for example, you do a check on intelligence, you will do the check by taking the top card of your deck and putting it into the basically discard pile, your used resources. But you'll add that number to your intelligence score. If it matches what your intelligence score is, if it's a spade, then you get a little bit of an extra bonus, because that's something that's you got in that moment, you got a little bit more in tune with. So I think that's actually really cool that they were able to do that with the suits and the decks. Same thing for charisma, same thing for toughness, same thing for agility. But you also have on here, again, man, I have to lean in. I'm going to be blocking my face. Let me just do this. Bring the computer a little bit closer. It's still behind my face here. Make that a little bit larger. And of course, I just went through and missed everything. Yeah, there's quality content. There we go. So you got your innates, which basically your static abilities, pretty much. You have your equipment that you'll have. You have your hero's psychology, and then you have your different combat techniques. And the different combat techniques will give you you'll be able to list what these are, the blessings, because there's different blessings if you're connected with certain suits in your deck, and when you do checks, you'll be able to get bonuses from that as well. But the character sheets for this is really simple and easy to follow. But the other thing that I wanted to go into on here, let me actually do this here. Scene. All right, so when they have encounters, they have phases that you encounter, basically your scenes, which is basically turns in D&D. And the way it works is that you're going to be using the initiative by flipping the top card of your deck to see who's quicker. But then, during combat, you are going to be utilizing here. You're going to be utilizing the different combination of cards that you're able to get. So not only will you be able to do the damage that your attacks would do, you get to do combos with it, because you're drawing a 5-card hand. You get to refresh that hand at the end of each scene and be able to pull off some amazing combos. And depends on what you have in your hand. So, like, for example, if you have a pair, you get the Omen of Power. If you have 3 of a kind, it's Arcane Grimoire. 3 cards the same value and 2 cards of another value, so full house. You get Dragon's Horde. A straight gets you Sanctuary Steps. A flush gets you Arcane Explosion. 4 of a kind gets you Spirit Recall, and a straight flush gets you Cosmic Ascension. So it's really cool that they're able to mix poker in and use the poker chart for scoring hands and be able to incorporate that into the game. And I like how they have the thing here on the bottom to where you could tell the different combos. So like this one, for example, this player had 3 5s. Usually the damage would be, or total would be 15 value, but they get a +2 to the damage bonus. So it'd be 17 total. Same thing with this one. 4 7s equals 28 +5 for the damage bonus. But there's more we're going to go into this game, but I just want to point out that mechanic of it is that a lot of the stuff in this game you're focused on your deck, whether it be your initiative, whether it be your combat, your checks, everything. So you get to see your life total get to be managed a little bit more, which I think was a great addition to this game. And like I've shown the playmats before, the playmat makes it a whole lot better because all the different conditions that can happen to your characters, they can affect your card draws and affect how you recover cards in the game. And Gates of Crystalia, I want to thank them again for sending us this. It's definitely taking a bit longer, but now with everything going on, it's going to take a little bit longer to get the main videos up for this. But I wanted to go over some of this right now because I really do enjoy this aspect of the game. And I'll include a link below to where if you want to check out more of Gates of Crystalia, they are offering a chance to do late backing for their Kickstarter. It might be one you want to check out. And it's actually, if you get the digital versions of this, it's not expensive at all. But if you want to get all the great books and cards and everything, all those components, they have it available as well. All right, so we did that. Now, I'm just going to go back here, shrink this up, because now we're going to go into wrestling a little bit. All right, so Teddy, I'm actually getting ready to go into WWE wrestling right now. So we are going to go talk about WrestleMania. So WrestleMania is coming up. Currently, I'm on the F4W Online, which is a place I usually go to my wrestling news. We're going to talk about WrestleMania and my predictions of what's going to happen at the big show, which this year, in all honesty, I haven't had a chance to really watch it much, but um, some of the stuff I've seen has been really thrown together. One thing I'm really excited about, but I don't know if I'm going to give ESPN a bunch of money for one match. But we'll go into all these matches and let you know what I think about what's going to happen. Because this is the one time I'll actually talk about wrestling is on these chats. So here we go. So first off, let me actually move this here, so in case anybody comes up. All right. So first off, we have Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, battle of former brothers in the Judgment Day in a grudge match at WrestleMania 42. This has been about 3 years in the making, and I'm glad they finally did it. Um, Finn Balor needed more to do. I think it's about time that he was able to get his chance to be in the main event scene. Dominic has been doing great stuff in AAA, doing great stuff as the IC champion when he was holding that belt and everything. And then Danhausen happened. But these two finally having their match at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a fine match. I would hope Finn Balor wins, but in all honesty, Dominic Mysterio is probably going to end up winning by some chicanery, which will lead to a mixed tag later on, because I could see Dominic Mysterio and Liv going up against Finn and either Roxanne or Raquel, either one. But slowly but surely, the Judgment Day is starting to blow up, and it's about time they needed to blow up. Next up, for the Women's Tag Team Championships, Nia Jax and Lash Legend will be defending against Charlotte and Alexa, the Bella Twins, and Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Before, this looked like this was going to be a ladder match that was going to involve different teams. That was going to involve like the Kabuki Warriors and Rio and everything, but unfortunately that changed. The teams they got in there now are fine. Nia Jax and Lash Legend, I think, is a really good tag team. I'm glad to see Lash Legend do something on the main roster, because I think she's incredible. She did some great work in NXT. Charlotte and Alexa, I really love them as a tag team. The Bella Twins, they're there. No offense to them, but compared to all the other women wrestlers right now, there's some stuff to be desired. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, it's the whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing for Bayley, like which Bayley you're going to get. And I think it's going to be a fun tag match. It's probably not going to be given too much time. But in the end, I could see, I'm going to hate to say it, but I think the Bella Twins will win it. Some sort of twin magic, something like that. They'll end up getting the belt. Next up, the ladder match for the IC title. Penta going up against Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rusev, and JD McDonough with no build-up whatsoever. So this was just announced last week. Penta basically went, hey, I'm going to hang the belt up high where I belong, in the sky. Who's joining me? And then they went, okay, here's these 4 people. They probably just figured, oh crap, we haven't announced anything for the IC title yet. Dang, ladder match. And this is what you get. This is going to be a fun match. Don't get me wrong. Javon Evans is an amazing young talent. Dragon Lee will do some great stuff on the ladder. JD McDonough is really good when he's given the opportunity. And Rusev is going to throw everybody around. I think it's going to be a good mix. I think it's going to be a great match. It'll probably be a sleeper hit. But I can see Penta retaining the IC title in the ladder match. But there's going to be a lot of chicanery going around. Next up, United States Champion Sami Zayn will be defending against Trick Williams. This should be Carmelo Hayes. They had a ready-built storyline with Carmelo and Trick Williams all the way back from NXT. When those two were there, Carmelo Hayes was the main focus. Trick Williams was the sidekick. Over the past few years, it's basically went to Trick Williams has become a bigger star than Carmelo Hayes. I wish they would have kept the title on Hayes to where you had Hayes against Williams. You could bring up that storyline and have Hayes go, you know what, I'll show you why I'm still him. And those two would have had a great match. Now, don't get me wrong, Zayn and Williams going to have a good match. I don't see it being great, but it's going to be a good one. And I hope that Trick Williams gets the United States Championship. He deserves it. It's his time. Let him shine. For the women's IC title, AJ Lee will be defending against Becky Lynch. Uh, their first match left a bit to be desired because there's been a lot of fire in the promos, which never really translated into the ring. There needs to be more heat, and I hope that they're able to provide that and have a great match at WrestleMania and just beat the living daylights out of each other. But in the end, I can see Becky Lynch retain the IC title. In an unsanctioned match, Drew McIntyre against Jacob Fatu. So, I feel sorry for Drew McIntyre. He should be going in this as world champion. He should be going in this as world champion against Cody Rhodes, against Randy Orton, against Jacob Fatu, and against LA Knight in a fatal 5-way. But they're doing what they're doing now. I think Drew and Jacob are going to beat the holy hell out of each other. I think it's going to be a great match. It's going to be a great brawl. And I could see Jacob Fatu winning, taking out Drew McIntyre so he can go be the Highlander. Be in the Highlander movie. He's getting ready to film it. So this is a great way for them to write Drew McIntyre off, but I think it's going to be a fun match to watch. These two just beating the holy bejesus out of each other before Jacob Fatu gets the win. Next up, in a match that was thrown together because their opponents were injured, Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Now, as of right now, Raw's going on right now, so I don't know what's happening on Raw to explain why Gunther is going against Seth Rollins. But original plans were Gunther was supposed to go against Rey Mysterio and possibly retire Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio is injured. Seth Rollins was going to be going against Braun Breaker because Braun Breaker got him kicked out of the Vision, which was Seth Rollins' group that he started. Braun Breaker's injured, wasn't able to make it back. So now you have Seth Rollins against Gunther. It's going to be a great match. Both these two are going to be tremendous. Seth Rollins knows how to work a big guy that can throw him around, and Gunther is probably one of the best wrestlers going right now. I can see them having a great match, and I can see Seth Rollins barely pulling off the win against Gunther. Or they can keep Gunther strong and try to get the sleeper, but I can see Seth Rollins winning. And this is basically one of those times to take and making chicken salad out of chicken poo. Because with this, you have two gentlemen who were wanting to do who had other matches planned, but now they're going to scratch those plans and go into this. And I could see them just going out there and go like, all right, we couldn't have the matches we were supposed to. Let's beat the crap out of each other and let's show them what we can do. And I could see that happening. But my pick for winning this match is Seth Rollins. Now, for the big match I'm looking forward to, because when they put this up, I'm probably going to watch this over and over again. Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. I have enjoyed everything that Oba Femi has been doing in NXT, and they have been presenting him extremely well in WWE since he made the main roster. He is a monster. He is a Nigerian giant. He is undoubtedly, he should be world champion the next 2 years. And the build-up that they've had to this match is probably the best build-up they've had to any other match in WrestleMania leading up. Because these two are going to beat the holy bejesus out of each other. There are going to be suplexes. There's going to be power bombs. There's going to be just everything. As Big E once said, big meaty men bumping meat. Is exactly what's going to happen. And I would look forward to watching this match. Now, am I going to get ESPN so I can watch one match? No. But this is the match I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when it's all said and done. Oba Femi should win. Oba Femi should win in less than 5 minutes. It should be a big, brutal bash that's hard-hitting right off the bat. No slowing down, and just have them beat the bejesus out of each other. And Oba Femi winning. And I can see Oba Femi winning and possibly Brock Lesnar just walking away. Just passing the torch and go like, you know what, kid? You got this. And just goes on his merry way. I would love to see that. I really would. Next up, Jade Cargill going up against Rhea Ripley as she's defending her women's championship. Again, this is one of those things where they're Rhea was put against Jade because Rhea is going to be a great contender. Jade, she's gotten better since being in WWE, but there's just something missing. And those now she has B-Fab and Michin in her corner. Rhea has Rio in her corner, or Io, well, Rio together. Um, it's just something's not clicking. But I do believe in WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley will be getting the Women's Championship back, and she's going to have a great run with it because Rhea Ripley's amazing. Speaking of not clicking, Stephanie Vaquero will be defending her Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan. Uh, this one, outside the ring, promoting the matches, it hasn't felt right. In the ring, they got something. And I'm sure they're going to have a fine match, but just leading up to it has not clicked. But in the end, I can see Liv Morgan getting the belt. She deserves it. She's done a whole lot. She's improved so much over the years. I could see her being a world champion and having a long reign with that as the whole Judgment Day thing just explodes. For the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defends against Randy Orton in probably one of the most lackluster builds that they've been trying to make it better. Pat McAfee in Randy Orton's corner. Don't get me wrong, I like Pat McAfee as a person. I think he's an entertaining person. This should not be his spot. This does not make sense at all. I think the original plan they said was supposed to be Vince. Can't be. All the allegations going on right now, Vince McMahon should not be put in that position. It could have been Shane. It could have been Bob Orton. There's so many different options they could have chose. But they went with Pat McAfee. They're trying to do their best to make the best out of a bad situation. But it's not going to work. Plus, Cody's getting booed a lot more. So I could possibly see Cody retaining, but then also going full heel at WrestleMania. So my prediction, Cody's going to retain. Pat McAfee's going to be gone. Finally, CM Punk will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. It's been great seeing Punk as champ, but I think they're going to give the belt to Reigns. And if they do, they better not make it another 5-year reign. The biggest thing that I can see them having is Punk and his age catching up to him. And somehow, some way, after this, he's going to turn heel. But as of right now, they're going to have a great match. They're going to probably end night one, and it's going to be a fantastic match. But Reigns is going to win. And then you're going to have Punk, who will not have the opportunity to, or he will not have the stamina to make it through the match because his body will just give out. And they can play into a hell of a storyline afterwards on that. But I could see Punk losing, Roman Reigns winning, and then later on CM Punk becoming a heel once again. But only time will tell. But that's my predictions for WrestleMania. Like I said, I haven't followed it too much, but from what I've seen, a lot of it's just been not as great. The Obafemi, Brock Lesnar stuff's been fantastic. I love Danhausen. I thought when they first brought him in, I was thinking, like, man, they botched this one up because Danhausen's a good wrestler. Like, he's a good in the ring, but he's a great character. He reminds me of characters like you would find hosting old school horror movie showcases or anything like that, like Svengoolie. But the way that they've been using him is the right amount of comedy where he's cursing people and then he accidentally cursed a ref, he's cursed The Miz, he's cursed Kit, which Kit lost to Jelly Roll, which I was fine with that. Jelly Roll's got like a 911 chokeslam. If you haven't seen it yet, go on YouTube, watch Jelly Roll chokeslam Kit Wilson. He's got that 911, like, I'm just going to pick you up and just going to throw you down. And it looks perfect. But Danhausen's been used very well, and I can't wait to see what they do with him more later on. But that's been it. Like, WrestleMania this year has just been there. It's not really been like anything I've been excited about, and I think WWE's just finally getting to that point where they've, between lackluster builds, trying to say, oh, we're building up stories, but those stories aren't going too far, going too well. And then you have um, the price of the tickets and everything, and how much they're not selling and all. It's been something else. So it's going to be interesting to see how WrestleMania goes this year. Um, I think it should be an okay show, a fine show. There's a couple of matches that can really steal it. Like I said, ladder match should be really good. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar should be fantastic. Seth Rollins and Gunther should be great. And I think Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu are going to have a great match. Uh, Punk and Reigns has really great potential to be there, but all the other ones, I have to wait and see. But that's my predictions for WrestleMania. And that's pretty much everything for tonight. Like I said, it's a little bit of a short one tonight. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about was the update. Like I said, we're just throwing a lot of stuff, getting a lot of stuff changed up and everything. And for anybody who wants to throw in any questions real quick while I'm on here, feel free to do so. I'd be more glad to answer anything that comes up. But we're still planning on doing all of our changes in September for TCG Tussle, Date Night Demolition, the Card Graveyard, and just our first Friday of each month as being a complete random one for whatever we can do. But there's just a lot of changes that we're getting ready to start doing here at HHG. Changes that we were going to make. And it happens. Just a lot, like life gets in the way. And so that's what's happening right now. And hopefully all of you who watch these videos and support the channel will hang in there with us while we're doing these changes and help us continue to grow and continue to prosper, and hopefully we can still entertain you and show you some great games. And also, right now we're at I think like 462, 463 subscribers. I want to see if we can get to 500 before Gen Con and see how that goes. So if we can get to 500 before Gen Con, I want to try and do some sort of giveaway. I don't know what yet, but I would love to do some sort of giveaway if we reach 500 subscribers by the end of Gen Con this year. So definitely stay tuned for that, because I would love to be able to do something like that. So, but that's going to be it for tonight for the stream. Next week, HHG Live will be a bit more upbeat. Tonight was, I know, having to give like the updates and everything, not the kind of updates I wanted to give. So next week we'll get back into it. More gaming news. We're going to talk more about upcoming releases. Might be able to do it in a little bit of unboxing while I'm on here, but stay tuned. We got the Excalibur Elegant TCG. We'll be doing stuff, the final rounds for HHG Challenge Series, Dice Throne for the title and everything. It's gonna be really a lot of fun, and hopefully y'all will enjoy it, and hopefully you'll join us for everything that's got going on. But thank you all so much for checking out the stream, and until next time, my friends, stay safe